the truth to unveil, speaking raw wisdom through the storm and the gale. Every harsh word, a dagger that cuts, can slice through the silence, breaking the ruts. No sugarcoating, no softening the blow. Just say it, no holding back. Words like fire, igniting the track. Listen or leave, it's your call tonight. Aaron's the storm, he's ready to fight. Voices echo in darkness, where honesty dwells. Aaron drops knowledge, casting his spells. Feelings are fading, lost in the fray. If you can't handle it, step out of the way. It's a bitter pill, but he's done being nice. Had to say it, no holding back. Words like fire, igniting the track. Listen or leave, it's your call tonight. Aaron's the storm, he's ready to fight. It's a bitter pill, but he's done being nice. Had to say it, no holding back. Words like fire, igniting the track. Listen or leave, it's your call tonight. Aaron's the storm, he's ready to fight. So brace yourself tight, prepare for the quake. Aaron had to say it, the truth won't break. Yeah, the truth won't break.
I had to say, or else it would just go unsaid. Yeah, I had to say, or else it would just go unsaid. If you didn't get it from me, you'd hear it from some new man instead. I may cuss and yell, but I know what I say is right. You know what, I will fucking yell, but I know what I say is right. So long as the world be fucking shit up, I'ma yell into this mic. Left or right, don't matter, I will call you on your shit. I said left or right, don't fucking matter, I will call you on your shit. If you're the side that fucking up, the gorilla's gonna deal with it. Yeah, I had to say it, or else it would go unsaid. Yeah, I had to fucking say it, or else it would just go unsaid. If you didn't hear it yelled at the top of my lungs, you got fed a crock of shit instead.
podcast you are about to listen to contains at least one of the following: strong language, disturbing topics, abusive opinions, generally things that aren't appropriate for little kids or overly sensitive people. So, if any of that stuff's going to get your nose out of joint, this is your chance to turn it off.
It's Aaron, your favorite unfiltered mess. Spin takes so raw, they'll make your grandma stress. This, that, and the other, life, politics, the whole damn scene. Whatever crosses my mind, or whatever I saw on my screen. Movies to munchies, games to the grind, interviews flowing, this is starting to sound like a date, ain't it? Drink sports. Wait, you buying? If not, tough luck. My opinion's still flying. No script, no filter, just pure chaotic bliss. I might offend your auntie or your therapist. Society's clown show. Yeah, I'm ringing the bell. If it's stupid and sacred, well, it had to be said. What the hell? Buckle up, buttercup, the mic's getting reckless. I had to say it. Now pass the tissues for the trigger.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of I Had to Say It. So we're going to start as we do by saying to Iceman, Jason, Javier, Fitz, McShane, El Jefe, El Devlin, El Morte, to the guys from the Red Report, to Billy G, to Walt from the B-Rob Podcast, to Kate the Duchess of New Jersey, to Boomer Bob, to Billy G, to God, every week these days, to George Fonts of the World of Blaze Podcast, to Josh from New Hampshire, and to our most recent addition to the crew, Lisa. Thank you so much for your continued support. It means the world to me. A special shout out to Ken Madden of Mad K Studios for his continuing generosity and general friendship. Thank you very much, bud. So anyway, it's another Monday night, another case of things being what they are. Hopefully everything's working right, because the preview that's up over here in my streaming software has not changed from the title card. If anybody that's in the chat could give me a little shout and let me know if things are working properly, it would be greatly appreciated. But we're going to continue marching boldly onward and assume that everything's working right, because, frankly, I don't need to start over. It's recording, so worst case scenario, the live stream's really tedious and the audio episode will still go down. So we are going to start out this evening by, first and foremost, I want to float something just so you guys are aware, situation being what it is, everything's going on in Aaron's little world. The live streams may or may not continue. Much as I love having you guys here and it's fun to do with the recordings, depending on what happens with the job I had an interview for, I may not be able to keep doing these live streams just due to scheduling conflicts. I would like to keep them going, or possibly bump them to a different day if that works better. We'll have to kind of cross that bridge when we come to it. Nothing positive yet, I should say. There's nothing confirmed. Nothing has been decided. Nothing's been finalized. It's just, if it becomes a case of I'm getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go to work, I'm probably not going to be able to stay up late editing and doing all this stuff. Or maybe I'll keep doing the live streams and the episode drop date or time will have to change to accommodate that. But at the end of the day, got to do what you got to do to pay the bills until something better comes along, or until I all of a sudden go viral and get successful and this podcast can actually start paying some bills instead of just costing me money. So that is the first piece of business. Second piece of business. What is the second piece of business? Oh yeah. Second piece of business is we still have not had a winner in the listener engagement thing I tried to do by going to the social media and identifying the various clues I have left in place for other shows and podcasts that I wanted to bring your guys' attention to in order to win the lovely signed and numbered print from Mad K Studios that I am sitting on. Yeah, you guys need to step it up. Seriously, somebody's got to find something. So far, George said he had most of them figured out. I had Lisa said Candace Owens, which she's a funny lady. Not Candace, but Lisa's a funny lady for saying that. But yeah, no, that's not the case. It's not Candace Owens. It's a case of, like I said, it's all small. Well, a couple of them are kind of big, but for the most part, relatively small on the scale of things, but shows and people I've interacted with over the course of the existence of this show that I think deserve a little attention from you guys. So go do the things, and what do they call it? A call to action, I guess it would be. Go to any of my social media accounts, find the most recent posts, and get on there saying, hey, it's a case of here's my guesses for what you're trying to get me to submit here. And yeah, so that's the other piece of housekeeping. So I guess we'll just get into it. Ken said I sound good, so at least I'm coming through on the live stream. That's a good thing. Thank you for answering there, bud. A couple things we're going to touch on today. Over the course of the last week, since the last episode, there were a couple planes that got shot down in Iran, and American pilots down behind enemy lines. They recovered one guy almost immediately. Second pilot was actually out in the wilderness for a few days. Massive undertaking went underway to go retrieve this pilot, to recover this pilot. And pretty much immediately, once it was made public that he was home safe, it cost, millions of dollars and tons of resources, and involved hundreds of soldiers and CIA assets and other things to actively discourage the Iranians from searching in the right area. The CIA was planting all kinds of false flag information to keep them from finding this guy. And the pilot was recovered, and pretty much immediately everyone who is suffering from, Trump issues, anybody who, can't get it up without fucking cussing out the Cheeto and, identifying as 19 different made-up fucking pronouns and had a problem with it, all of a sudden became a expert on politics and international relations. And I saw a bunch of really stupid fucking posts that probably shouldn't have gotten under my skin as much as they did, but they did. Maybe I'm under the weather. Maybe I'm coming down with something and it's making me more sensitive than usual. But it genuinely pissed me off, the number of American citizens who wanted to bitch and moan about the fact that we went in and got one of our soldiers out of harm's fucking way. The fucking retarded, purple-haired, they-them faction immediately starts speaking up, talking all this shit, talking about, mediation's a thing, negotiation's a thing. They could have just let the Iranians capture this guy and then done hostage exchanges to get him back. And, it's all these just really retarded bad takes. And then people saying, oh, well, it cost 2 airplanes and on top of the aircraft that were shot down plus millions of dollars, and was one human life really worth all this, and blah, 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 blah. Just all these, again, shit takes that essentially boil down to, excuse me for a second. Sorry about that. Wife was hollering, and I thought it might have been something more significant than it was. She screamed like it wasn't a kind of scream that required me to get up and go see if she was hurt or not. It wasn't an I'm hurt scream. It was, she forgot I'm broadcasting right now and decided to start asking me questions. Love you, babe, but yeah, no, bad timing. It's nothing critical, nothing that needed to be handled right now. Apparently she forgot it was Monday. And I forgot where I was. Oh, yeah. So a bunch of retards out there trying to say we should not have done all this to recover the downed colonel who was the pilot of that plane. And it highlighted, at least to my way of thinking, one of the most significant breaches of why I am less and less optimistic about the potential to find middle ground between ourselves that tend to lean more conservative these days, and the people that also, currently define themselves as we're the real Americans, we're the liberals, we believe in freedom and justice and equality as long as you agree with everything we believe in, those fucking retards. Because the fact that they question why we would go through all those stages to recover one of our own and not let them fall into the hands of the Iranian Guard just highlights how deviated from the core values of what this country, in my opinion at least, should stand for. Realistically, that's a divide that you can't conquer, because in a lot of other countries, a lot of foreign people on X and Twitter or whatever, a lot of people speaking up about this matter, saying, was it really worth the cost of 2 destroyed aircraft? Because there were some little snafus in this situation. There were 2 transport airplanes that needed to be abandoned because they got stuck in the sand. They landed in an impromptu air base that was built by the engineer brigade, like on the fly, to stage this operation out of. And unfortunately, they sank into the shit soil in Iran and couldn't be recovered. So they were destroyed by the federal government to avoid them falling into the hands of the enemies of our nation, to learn more things about our technology. It's it sucks, but it's a understandable sacrifice as far as I'm concerned. But we have all these morons from around the world weighing in with their 2 fucking pennies on the matter, that it just goes that much further to highlight American values. And why I saw a comment from a popular streamer, you guys may or may not be familiar with him, named Asmongold, who read a tweet that really summed it up really well. That's how I found about it. I didn't see the tweet directly. I saw it because of him, where it was saying the fact that we have to explain to you why we would go through all of this to get one of our soldiers back is why we will never be able to find common ground, and why being an American citizen being someone that truly belongs in this country can't just be granted by a piece of fucking paper. And that kind of resonated with me, because it spoke to how divergent our values are to the great majority of the world, where we will place that much value on someone, on the person. In a lot of countries, human life doesn't carry the same weight that it does in this country. And as shitty as things have gotten here, as fucking retarded as it is here, that is still one of the defining characteristics of American culture and American society, is that we value human life, or at least some of us do. Some of us are fucking retarded liberals. And I'm saying that, like I said, as somebody who still identifies as a 90s liberal. I mean, but to my mind, I'm not conservative. I don't want things to stay the way they are, which is what conservative traditionally means. I think there's a lot of shit that needs to be changed. Unfortunately, a lot of it comes from the fucking left. There's a lot of shit that the right does that pisses me off too, but a lot of shit that the left does is just miles and miles worse. And the complete devaluation of human life, of existence in general, is globally prevalent and endemic in the situation, where you can see it everything from the, murdering children in the womb, stumping out there for medically assisted death, for as the commies in Canada popularized MAIDs, medically assisted death something service, I think it is. But it's a devaluation of human life, of general existence, that is just inherently repugnant to a lot of people, including myself. Now, I say that with the full understanding that I've said more than once, I don't believe all life is inherently valuable, because I don't. But I believe all life has the potential to be valuable. That's where I feel like people could point to me and go, dude, you're a hypocrite. You said a lot of people don't deserve to live. Well, it's true. A lot of people that deserve to live die, and a lot of people that deserve to die manage to keep kicking. As I constantly tell certain family members when they tell me I deserve more out of life than what I've got, deserve ain't got shit to do with it. But at the end of the day, that's my personal stance is all life has the potential to hold value. that potential is squandered and wasted by a huge portion of the population these days. And it's a shame, but the potential still exists, and I believe that should be respected and held sacred, that there's a potential for greatness in fucking everybody. The fact that so many people are allowed to allow it to just wither and die on the fucking vine, or choose to use that potential to be the most brain-dead, manipulated fucking retards on the planet, sanctimonious sacks of shit who somehow feel that their opinions are the only ones that matter, and anybody that agrees with them is good, and anyone who disagrees with them has to be silenced and destroyed, because if their ideas can't hold up to questioning or criticism, that's not fault with their ideals, that's fault with the rest of the world for fucking noticing. And I hate people like that. And these are the same people that are saying, well, they should have just allowed this pilot to be captured by what is a long-standing history of abusive, destructive ideology being perpetrated by a government that has a history of kidnapping and torture and victimizing and assault. And, you know, the Geneva Conventions are a really nice thing, but, you know, when you're on the only side abiding by them, the fucking playing field isn't level. And these motherfuckers have shown repeatedly they don't give a nickel-plated shit about playing nice, playing fair, or playing by the rules. Now, as everybody knows, I was staunchly no new foreign interventions in terms of my politics in the last election cycle, and I have repeatedly said that I disagree with a lot of what Trump has done, but I'm not going to bemoan the fact that he decided to take out the leadership of a bunch of people that want me dead. That being said, I believe that since we are in this conflict, the most reasonable course of action is to execute it in the most brutal and efficient way possible so we can get our troops home so they are safe and out of harm's fucking way. And the most effective way to do that is to just annihilate the fucking problem. I mean, it's a matter of being practical about the whole thing, and I realistically, all the fucking retards who are equivocating and trying to all of a sudden be, you know, foreign policy scholars and experts, and, you know, the internet is full of people that are, you know, this week I'm an expert in aviation, next week I'll be an expert in foreign policy, and the week after that I'll go back to being a climate change expert. You know, all the fucking retards who believe that whatever particular chosen media source they've decided to regurgitate on a subject is right, and everything else is misinformation or false narratives or fucking ideology that they don't agree with. It's all fucking retarded. It's all closed-minded. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. If you look that way, look at other ideologies that way, and you're unwilling to even consider the possibility beyond your specific set of fucking this is the one hard and fast rule, and if you don't hold my beliefs, you don't deserve to have a belief. If you can't acknowledge that my way's right, you don't get an opinion. It's cultish devotion to fucking flawed ideology. Just it's infuriating. The utter lack of critical thinking, the just lack of values of any sort of, you know, actual intellectualism. You get all these dime store fucking wannabe pseudo-intellects that come out of college with a degree that in gender studies or some other useless made up horse shit that has no practical applications in the real world, but they somehow think they're better than the people who don't have an education that actually sit around and question things and think things through, instead of just regurgitating whatever it was their worthless commie fucking professors told them is right. And it's a case of it just infuriated me to see this shit everywhere I looked of, oh, well, they shouldn't have done that. Trump's a bully. He's picking on these poor fucking people that want to see me dead. You fucking dolts. Every last one of these fucking mouth-breathing fucks they need to stay in their fucking lane. And you've got these libtard morons that when we take back the White House and we take back the Senate and we're going to, I mean, and it's not just retards on the internet. It's like the actual leftist leadership right now is saying the same shit. You got fucking Fang fucking Swalwell's coming out and saying, well, when the Democrats get back in power, we're going to prosecute everybody who was on board with Trump's policies, and there's going to be a retribution. I mean, these motherfuckers aren't even hiding anymore that they don't actually share any of the core American values of like dissenting opinions or differing beliefs or freedom to live your life according to your own values. It's the people that did things we don't like are going to pay when we're back in charge. And that only appeals to the fucking ideologically weak-minded motherfuckers that support these assholes. And they're fine with it because they will acknowledge that, yeah, anybody that doesn't agree with me is going to pay, and that's a good thing. because they lack any sort of empathy or value for humanity, and it's all they value is sameness. They value people that look like them, think like them, and act like them. They're these like overly homogenized fucking retards that have tried to make virtue out of fucking failing, and it's disgusting to me, and it's just infuriating. And seeing these fucking assholes opening their fucking yaps every last one of them is fucking retarded, and I'm fed up with it at this point. And that's my thoughts on that. And I'm glad the pilot was rescued and he's home safe, or en route to being home safe. Whatever, he's probably going right back into the fight, most likely. But that's a good thing. No American casualties in the matter, other than some loss of equipment. And equipment can be replaced, lives not so much. And anybody who doesn't want to acknowledge that, on top of which the guy was a colonel, so there's a degree of experience and skill that you're not just going to be able to fucking replace. So it's, again, short-sighted, weak-minded thought processes were people that want to criticize this fact. And meanwhile, recruitment's at record levels. The people who want to go into the military appreciate these kind of things, knowing that they're not going to be left fucking behind. And people that want to paint our dedication and not leaving people behind and not leaving troops to suffer at the hands of our enemies, they want to paint that as a fucking weakness or a flaw, because they are failed human beings. They're not Americans. I don't care if they were born here or not. They're not the kind of fucking people I identify with as fellow citizens at this point, because I feel they're just fucking in that whole oath to protect the country against enemies, foreign and domestic. Even though they'll say I'm a domestic enemy, I really feel the same way about them. It's a very mutual feeling at this point. So I guess in some ways I'm kind of hypocritical and no better than them, because I'm saying they're fucking antithetical to American values, because I don't believe they should be able to force their way of life on other people, which somehow makes me the fucking un-American one, because I'm not willing to lay down and let them force their fucking way of life on the American people. Without at least talking some shit on the internet. Let's face it, it's not like I'm doing anything that actually impacts anybody other than my tens of loyal listeners. But I try. I keep going. I keep talking shit and poking the bear when I can. And I keep getting audited by the state of Illinois, so that's fun. We'll see. Can't wait to see next year where they come at me again and say, "Hey, you didn't pay your taxes last year." And, yes, I fucking did. Here's the receipts. Do the same dance every fucking year for the last 4 fucking years. Oddly enough, kind of lines up with this show. So I wonder if there's a coincidence there. But I don't know. What can you do? That's probably a little too tinfoil hatty, a little too conspiracy theory to be actually accurate. So anyway, but that's all I've got to say about that matter for the time being. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is something that on a personal level makes me very happy in some ways. In other ways, it's not so much, but it could be worse, and it may get worse. Who knows? And that is Pam Bondi got handed her fucking papers last week. Now, for anybody who may not have seen the episode or has any kind of short-term recall issues or just hasn't listened to the show to date, I never for a single fucking second was a fan of Pam Bondi. I never for a solid second said, you know what, DJT made a good call on hiring that fucking blonde cunt, because she was a bad hire. She was a bad pick. She's in the same breath as trying to claim they are the most pro-2A administration ever to exist, which is horseshit. Pretty much anybody from before fucking 1913 was more pro-2A than them. And every administration since has not been pro-2A. Anybody since the inception of the NFA that has not actively worked to strike it down is anti-pro-2A. Anybody that is not pushing for the Supreme Court to fucking start smacking all these states that are infringing upon people's Second Amendment rights is not 2A. Anybody that supported red flag laws like Pam Bondi did is not fucking 2A. Anybody that sits there and says, hey, you know what, even though they've completely eliminated the reason behind the existence of the NFA by eliminating the tax and making the tax stamp fee zero on the restricted items, we should now get rid of the NFA because it's lost its legal base, is not 2A. So, yeah, Pam Bondi's out, to the surprise of nobody with more than 2 fucking functional brain cells. This bitch has done nothing but be worthless and take bad takes and say stupid shit in public eye that has been repeatedly proven to be horseshit. She has been ineffectual. She has accomplished nothing in her tenure as the AG. So she is out, and thank fucking God. She was utterly useless. She's fucking full of shit, and she kept saying dumb shit in public that immediately became talking points for the fact that she's fucking incompetent. I mean, I can't lump enough contempt on that fucking bimbo. So that's just, of course, that's my take on it. You know, she's ineffectual. She said a lot of stupid shit. Oh, the Epstein files are sitting on my desk. To, oh, there are no Epstein files. To, oh, shit, well, no, the paper's out, but not a single fucking prosecution, not a single fucking charge has been filed. Nothing has been done. She was an ineffectual sack of cunt, and I'm glad she's fucking gone, and I hope she fucking just... I'm sure she'll land on her feet because people like that always fucking do, but I really hope so. I hope she gets the clap. I hope something bad happens to her. And I'm not ashamed to admit that. I'm being petty and you know, childish and whatever. Fuck that bitch. And so that's the thing about that is, though, now I've seen a couple different short lists of potential replacements for her. Most of them I'm not any happier with than I was with her. And I've seen some really off takes that somebody floated like Judge Jeanine to be moved up to AG. And I'm like, fuck no, that fucking anti-gun bitch has no business anywhere near that office. Especially not if they're going to try and keep saying, oh, well, we're pro Second Amendment. We ran on that and we're going to stand by it. We're pro 2A. No, the fuck you're not. Fucking clowns. But it's a case of... You know, you got to take what you can get, but at the same time, there's so many bad choices being floated. Fun fact, nothing actually says that the Attorney General has to be a judge. There are plenty of other qualified people that could actually probably step in and do a better job, but, you know, unfortunately, our culture being the way it is, they're not going to be considered. Because people are stupid and they want comfort and familiarity. So that's what they're going to go with, and that's what we're going to get. More comfortable, stupid fucking shit. So, anyway, yeah, so Bondi's out. Fuck that broad. Never liked her. Hope bad things happen to her. Hope she gets the clap. Hope she gets crabs. I hope that she, you know, stubs her toe every time she fucking gets up in the middle of the night to go take a piss. I hope her sheets are 2 inches too short for her bed. I hope she steps on a fucking Lego. I want bad things to happen to her. I don't know if that's become clear or not, but I do. And, yeah, so there's that. Now, the next thing I have, I've actually got like 4 notes here. They're literally bullet points. Next thing I want to touch on real quick is our flight of the Artemis rocket that's up there right now. Today, actually, at like 5:45, went behind the moon, lost contact with the planet for 42 minutes. Actually, I'm assuming they're back on the radar now at this point. Because I haven't heard anything about there being a disaster and them getting stuck behind the moon or anything else, or, you know, people jumping up to grab them by their bippies, and the moon people haven't dragged them down, and it's they're probably fine. I could probably dig into it a little bit better, and I probably should have done that before I started the show, but I was busy watching the Boomer Bunker and laughing, so. You know, I'm refusing to give up my joy in the name of dumb shit. So, yeah, like I said, since I haven't seen any horrible things about what's going on there, I'm gonna assume everything is fine and they're all well and good. But yeah, that's kind of fun to me. And the people who say we never went to the moon say we're going there now. They're saying there's evidence that there is things. There's a lot of camps on this. I personally, I don't know. I mean, I think we probably went to the moon because we were all about sticking it to the Ruskies back then. MIS. But Yeah, so the thing about this Artemis is they're saying they're now farther along than any other rocket that has been launched in the history, saying that they went on a, because they're not landing yet. They did a flyby, and they went around behind the dark side of the moon and, to slingshot back towards the Earth in a slingshot maneuver. Let's see. Yeah, they're back in contact now. They're on their return leg of their Earth orbit. I just pulled it up on NASA real quick just to check. So yeah, they're fine. They're not like being pulled down by the moon or anything. The moon men let them pass. I don't know how much it costs us in tolls, but whatever. They're on their way back. So that'll be interesting, and we'll see where we go with that, and the whole, setting up the moon as a stepping stone for whatever space exploration comes next. In a lot of ways, just makes sense. It's a case of this probably is, the fact that we haven't done it before now really always kind of mystified me when I was a kid, where I was like, well, how come we haven't bothered to build a city on the moon? Yeah, I know it's a logistical nightmare, and it's hauling all that shit up there's going to be ridiculously hard, but there's got to be fucking resources on the moon we could mine. I don't think they really had super detailed core samples back in the 60s when we were actually interested in getting up there. But like I said, there's, at the end of the day, as thanks to Elon making spaceflight more affordable per ton, we can actually start shipping building materials up there now, and then once we have a base on the moon, it gives us a staging platform to launch towards Mars, which is Elon's goal. And that, as long as that's his determined goal, it makes, and I've actually said this before, and I know other people said it before too. If you look at everything Elon's ever fucking done, every business he owns points towards, building a colony on another planet. That's battery-powered vehicles, and if you don't have a ready source of fucking petroleum, it makes perfect sense to have battery-powered vehicles and being able to use solar energy to charge it, because we don't know what resources would exist on Mars. That's great. You have a hostile environment, it makes perfect sense to have a boring company that makes tunnels underground. You want to import a workforce that's not going to get tired, not going to fucking be a problem. You bring in a whole bunch of fucking Optimus robots to do the fucking work. It all kind of points towards one end goal with this guy, and then SpaceX is obviously, the workhorse of getting everything there and making reusable rockets that get snagged out of the air by a big fucking robot arm. That makes perfect sense. So it's a case of it all makes sense, and I'm kind of tickled we might get to actually see some progress on this in my lifetime, assuming I live to be a ripe old age, which would be fabulous. So that's another thing that happened this week. And then the last thing I have on my list to talk about right now is actually something that was fed to me by a good friend of the show, Shane McShane. And just that's kind of, I suppose I should explain that for the listeners who may not have actually listened to my repeated calls out to go listen to the Boomer Bunker. That is actually Steve McShane of Razorwire News, and he floated something to me that he thought might be interesting, and I looked into it, and he's right, it is interesting, and the story keeps evolving and changing, and it probably change again before this episode drops, because that's how narratives work these days. They don't stay static very long. But yeah, John called him Shane McShane one time, and it just sort of became a thing. So anyway, yeah, go listen to Boomer Bunker, go listen to Razorwire, go listen to Nerd Chronicles, Baked Lore. I'm not going to do the Scream Cody, I'm sorry, just not happening. But oh yeah, and speaking of Boomer Bunker, I may actually start doing something during these live streams, if I keep the live streams going, that I'm going to full on admit I'm stealing from the Boomer Bunker's concept, because anybody that's listened to this or paid attention to the things I say, I have a Discord server. It's not very active. There's not a lot of chitter chatter on there. There's about 30 some people on that are members of the Discord server. I may actually start opening up a voice channel during these live streams, so there's no lag for the people that want to be involved on that. They could be typing. I have, with this like war room setup I'm developing here, I can have the Discord open and a monitor while I have the show running, and with the big monitor here, I could have it up right in front of me, so I could keep track of that while I'm talking, and you guys could try and distract me that way instead of distracting me through the Restream app. And yeah, so I'm actually thinking about adding that. I got to get some details from John about how to do it, because I want to know how much extra grief that gives him, because as I've said repeatedly, John is just looking into my future 10 years from what I can tell. And so let him do the hard work and then explain the shit to me so I can do it without having to deal with all the shit that he had to deal with trying to figure it out. But I digress. So anyway, yeah, so Steve McShane floated something to me in the Razorwire group chat, which was actually really interesting, and it just got progressively more interesting as more information kept coming out. There was a account on X, Nate Silver 538. Not that that's relevant, not that anybody has to worry about that. That's not something you guys are gonna have to, there's no homework assignment, there's no anything else. But it was supposed to be an article, basically putting out that since Elon bought X, formerly Twitter. It's put out this like bubble graph tracking total engagements on the platform on X, and what they're trying to illustrate here is showing that all the engagement is going almost entirely in an unbalanced manner to right-leaning accounts. Now, this infographic has a lot of problems with it to begin with, starting with a couple of the accounts that lists as right-leaning accounts are like not right-leaning accounts. They are fucking leftist accounts. There was one person listed as a right-leaning account that is a literal fucking communist. And so this Nate Silver clown, who tries to fancies himself a journalist, has a Substack, but puts out this infograph, and it's like shows the biggest circle on the graph is Elon Musk. Of fucking course it is. You know why? Because Elon Musk shows up in everybody's feed. You know why? Because he owns the fucking platform. You don't have to be following him. Unless you're on the I'm following people tab, he's going to show up in your fucking feed. You know why? Because he owns the fucking platform, and he can. It's realistically, it's not a case of like, oh my God, that's so unbelievable. No shit. And then it goes into other accounts, bigger accounts, Gunther Eagleman, Eric Daughtry, Nick Soder, like people that are definitely right-leaning people that are MAGA people that are anybody that's exposing fraud or trying to bring attention to shit that has been pulled by the left. And a lot of these accounts were people that were generally shoved and suppressed under the prior ownership of Twitter. And so all of a sudden now they're getting more traffic, and this infographic shows that they're getting more traffic, and they're getting all the, it's inorganic, because obviously Elon has turned this into a right-leaning platform. And, it was presented as a case of, hey, Aaron, check this out. And so I did. And immediately, being the kind of person I am, I formulated my own thoughts, opinions, and beliefs on the matter, because that's what I do. And then I kept digging, and information kept shifting, and things kept changing, and took a little glance at the article that this guy wrote, trying to, well, here's my analysis and context about the way the things have been going in social media for the last decade. And they're like, glaring omissions and obvious personal bias, completely set aside. And the fact that, like I said, he's miscategorizing creators to emphasize his point. More importantly, completely ignores things like when Elon bought Twitter and a bunch of leftist assholes got their feelings in a fucking knot, got their they-thems hurt, and they went off and they said, oh, well, we're going to make our own platform where we're not going to let all you right-wing assholes have a voice. And they founded Blue Sky. And Blue Sky immediately became a hotbed of fucking pedophilia and fucking degeneracy, to the surprise of absolutely no one. It became a platform based on who could virtue signal harder, who was a bigger fucking victim, and who was more fucking oppressed. And if you said anything that was dissonant or didn't align exactly with what they fucking wanted to say, they would report you and have you blocked and banned almost fucking immediately. So it is nothing but a deep blue echo chamber, and it's a shit show, and nobody stayed there. All the fucking crying, bleeding heart liberal retards that went over to this platform so they could have a safe space where they don't have to put up with that MAGA bullshit and all that Nazi fascist regime talk of people that don't want to acknowledge my made-up gender and my fake fucking pronouns that I pulled out of my fucking ass. So all these mouth-breathing fucking retards, they go out there and they say, okay, here, we're going to make our own platform. Oh my God, why is there so much right-leaning traffic on Twitter? Because all of you fucking retards left. There's Proposition 1. Proposition 2, which is another determinant factor in this matter. Okay, all these right-leaning accounts are getting more engagement, more traffic. It's not necessarily a case of they're getting that traffic because the algorithm is unfairly pushing their content. It's a case of, and I thought about this long and hard before I really struck true as I was thinking about it. It's a case of when you have, engagement metrics, it doesn't show who the engagement is coming from. It shows who's receiving the engagement. It's who's getting the views, who's getting the comments, your engagement algorithms on social media are based upon what you interact with. When you wonder why you see weird shit in your Instagram feed or your Facebook feed or your Meta Reels on whatever fucking platform you're using, or when your TikTok shows you a bunch of specific shit, or when you're getting fucking, one-armed midgets in fucking snowball fights because somebody sent you a video of that, the algorithm pays attention to how you interact with these things. How long were your eyes on that fucking video? Because you are the fucking product. Your attention is what they fucking sell. So they harvest that data. So they are designed to do the things that are going to get the most engagement out of you, that are going to take the most time and effort on your fucking part to balance things out. So this algorithm that's driving all this engagement to these right-leaning platforms, what this asshole could be completely missing, and it may be deliberate, it maybe not so much, but either way, it's not measuring who the engagement's coming from. It's not measuring what the metric is doing. It's not saying why these things are getting more and more engagement. There's no deeper analysis other than this nebulous, like, Elon's turning it right wing. It's also a very real possibility that this asshole doesn't even begin to acknowledge that these right-wing accounts are getting more engagement and more traffic because leftists have verbal diarrhea about every goddamn thing they think they need to have an opinion on. They think their opinion is the most valuable thing in the fucking world, and everybody needs to fucking hear it. So every time one of these right-leaning accounts makes a post, makes a statement, posts a video, does anything that in any sort of way that could garner any sort of fucking engagement, these assholes see it, become irrationally infuriated, and pour out of the fucking woodwork to vent their fucking spleens about how wrong it is and how fascist it is and how fucking bigoted it is and whatever other particular claim of butthurt they have on these fucking matters, that somehow they don't realize they're driving that engagement. So when you see all these retarded blue circles on the fucking graph that are left-leaning individuals that are smaller circles because they have less traffic and less engagement, not a single one of these fucking brain sponge motherfuckers has the wherewithal to go, maybe it's because since I see these things and I agree with them, I don't put a fucking 3-paragraph tirade on their fucking posts. I give them a fucking thumbs up and I move on with my fucking day. So it's not the same degree of engagement. When you're not getting in fights in the comments because you saw something that aligns with your particular flavor of mental fucking illness, and so you just were like right on and you moved on to the next thing you needed to be self-righteously indignant over, you're the fucking factor there. It's not that your side's not getting a fair shake. It's your side doesn't do things that drive engagement because it's your side, and you're the one driving these engagements because your retarded self-righteousness is exactly what they're farming. They're counting on your inability to keep your fucking bile down to drive this engagement. They're 100% betting on the fact that your retarded ass, instead of seeing it and go fuck you and moving on with your fucking day, you're going to vent your spleen because obviously your opinion is so critical and so crucial and so original that the world needs to fucking know it. And then when these other people start calling you fucking names in the comments because they see your comment and they think you're a fucking retard, you're going to teach every last one of those assholes what makes you right and what makes them wrong. And you're going to get your fucking social justice warrior pin one way or another. So you're going to go out there and you're going to make 97 fucking responses to every asshole that shows up in your comments. And you're going to drive the engagement on that original post. More and more eyes are going to get put on that as people tune in to fucking call you out or to make fun of you and you're going to engage with every last one of those, causing the spiral that gets the attention drawn to these fucking accounts that you claim to fucking hate because you're too fucking weak-minded to realize you'd be better off just muting the motherfucker and moving on with your fucking life. But when your entire identity is tied up and being fucking offended and insulted over made up bullshit, you can't do that because then you have to acknowledge that you actually really don't matter in the fucking world. It's your own personal fucking bullshit and the rest of the world's moving on without it. If you don't tell the fucking whole world how important you are, how are they going to fucking know? Because you haven't actually done anything to make any real impact in the fucking world. All you have is fucking righteous indignation on the internet because you're a brain dead fucking chud. So that was kind of the conclusion I came to when Steve put this in front of me. And then as time goes on, as it does, people that take issue with the thing, the internet does what the internet does, and it comes out that let's see, this Nate Silver, the information put in there, yada yada yada, being put forward. Several ex-creators popped up and said their actual stats don't line up with the fucking chart at all, and don't line up with his narrative posted fucking Substack report either. And then the data that was drawn together to assemble this post was actually from sources funded by a Soros-backed NGO. So it's, all of a sudden this thing is saying, oh my God, social media is so unfairly balanced towards the right, comes from literally the definition of leftist financing, un-American globalist piece of shit, like the fucking emperor from fucking Star Wars and George Soros have never been seen in the same room at the same time. I'm just saying. I mean, thankfully he can't shoot lightning out of his fucking hands and he'll be dead soon, but his fucking twink son is still there driving his fucking evil legacy. So, I mean, it's anyway. Like I said, to the surprise of nobody with more than 2 functioning brain cells, yeah, this whole study was this whole article was based on a study funded by a leftist piece of shit and a bunch of other leftist pieces of shit that, the sub markets that they use to launder their fucking funds. And then, and then Elon Musk, being Elon Musk, comes out with the kind of repost it just sums him up very well. And just says, yeah, he's full of shit. So yeah, that was kind of the last thing I actually had locked and loaded for today. So if I'm going to start reading the recipe now, if anybody that happens to be here in the chat wants to chime in, I can see it. So feel free to pipe up if there's anything you guys have to say about the matter, anything you want to contribute, anything you want to tell me I'm fucking wrong about. Now's your time. Speak now, forever hold your peace. Let's see, just little stuff that was said in there. Ken likes my mustache. Thank you, Ken. I appreciate that. Duchess is also in the chat, said John will help me. He just gets distracted, so I'll have to keep on him about it, which is cool. That's why Duchess handles the comments during their show, and she does a wonderful job at it. Although sometimes she ignores some of my real bangers because I'm sure she doesn't want to have to read them and then have Mike sound clip her saying something that came out of my fucking poor twisted head, because that poor lady has to deal with a lot. And on the other hand, I also promised I would make like eating noises for Mike to clip so they can. Okay, there you go, clip it. Anyway, so for tonight's recipe, we are going to do spinach artichoke dip. Now, this is a lovely side dish. You can serve it warm. You can actually eat it cold if you want to. I like it better warm myself. And it's just, it's good for holidays, good for whatever. So for this recipe, you're going to use, and this is actually a pretty big batch, but this is what you're going to go through. If you're not making it for like 2 people, you're going to want the big batch. So it's a case of, okay, we're going to start out with 3 pounds of cream cheese softened. Now, 3 pounds is one of the big-ass blocks. You can get them at Walmart. You can get them at Jewel. You can get them at frickin' anywhere. Or you can get 6 of the little packs. Yes, it's a lot. I know, but it's what you're going to need. So then you're going to start with 2 pounds of chopped frozen spinach. Now that's, if you get the square blocks, that's 2 blocks. If you get the stuff in a bag, it's like 3 bags because the bags are only 12 ounces and the blocks are 16. So yeah, that's basic math. You'll actually have a little extra if you do the 3 bags, but again, whatever. Ken had to leave and came back. Okay, well, welcome back, Ken. I just thank you for the nice thing you said about my mustache. So welcome back. Anyway, yeah, back to the recipe. So 2 pounds of chopped spinach, thawed and drained. Now, when you drain it, you're going to want to get some cheesecloth and kind of put all the drained spinach in the cheesecloth and twist it up to press the water out of the spinach. It's important that you get it kind of dry. Not super dry, but kind of dry. Then you're going to get 2 large cans of chopped artichoke hearts, and you're going to mostly drain them. You want a little bit of juice from those, but not all the juice. You want a little bit of juice. You're going to use 1 medium Valdelia onion chopped into a small dice, 1/4 cup, or I'm sorry, that's not a 1/4 cup. That is a 2 tablespoons of minced garlic, 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan, and 1/2. No, that's not. Shit, I can't read my own writing. That is 1 tablespoon of blackening spice plus 1 teaspoon. It's 1 tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon of blackening spice. So that's 1.5 tablespoons. If you got a half tablespoon measure, some people do, some people don't. Anyway, so, and then you're going to have 1/2 cup of shredded mozzarella cheese. And you're going to combine all these things in a big ass bowl, and you are going to mix them until they are thoroughly combined, except for the grated onion. You're going to take the chopped onion, you're going to saute that over a medium-low heat for about 3 minutes, just to soften it up a little bit, and you're going to fold that into the mix. Then you're going to take the mix and you are going to stir it all up until it's really good, and you're going to put it in the fridge until you're ready to serve it. When you're ready to serve it, you want to heat it up. Either you can heat it up in the microwave, you can heat it up in a double boiler, or you can pop it in the oven. I pop it in the oven personally. You put it in a like a 9x13 pan, or a 9x9 glass brownie pan is actually like the ideal pan to put it in. You put it in there, you top it with a little fresh shredded Parmesan, you heat it up for about 25 minutes at 350 degrees. The top will get all crusty, and then the inside's all warm, and then you can serve it with tortilla chips or crostinis or garlic bread, pretty much anything. It's a good general purpose dip. So that's the recipe for today. And let's see. In the comments, we have Duchess saying she's sorry. It's not intentional. It's absolutely fine. You don't have to worry about it. Yeah, I know it's not intentional. But like I said, sometimes it is shit you probably don't need to be repeating, because the simps would probably lose their shit, because sometimes I say things that are a little inappropriate and can be really misinterpreted. So I do not take it personal at all. So I'm going to open it up to the chat again for about another minute or so, and then I think I'm probably going to put a pin in it, because I don't really have anything else left that is rolling around in my head that I want to touch on. So like I said, this is your chance, guys. If there's anything you want me to talk about, and speak now or forever hold your peace. Duchess says the recipe sounds delicious. Thank you so much. It really means the world to me that you guys, appreciate that I'm giving you my hard-earned secrets. I mean, this is years and years of experience. And I want you guys. I want to share my love with you guys. No, Duchess, I'm not saying you're misinterpreted. I'm saying some of the shit I say in the chat, if you read it on screen, it could be misinterpreted by the fucking degenerates, because I use a lot of colorful language that some of them might really enjoy hearing out of your mouth. Fucking preverts. Preverts, the lot of them, I swear. But, alrighty, so I guess at this point, I'm going to put a pin in it and say, for now, that's what I had to say. And why is it not working? There we go.